एक विशेष समारोहका साथ अमेरिका स्थित नेपाली राजदूतावासले संविधान दिवस अर्थात् नेपाल राष्ट्रिय दिवस मनाएको छ। परराष्ट्र मन्त्रालयका दक्षिण तथा मध्य एसियाली मामिलाका कार्यवाहक सहायक सचिव अर्थात् नेपालका लागि प्रस्तावित अमेरिकी राजदूत डिन थम्पसनको प्रमुख आतिथ्यमा सो समारोह सम्पन्न भएको थियो। समारोहमा बोल्दै प्रस्तावित राजदूत थम्पसनले नेपालको विकास प्रयासमा अमेरिकाले आफ्नो सहयोग र साझेदारीलाई निरन्तरता दिने बताए।
Ambassador Khatri, I look forward to working with you, with the Prime Minister, and other leaders in Nepal to build on the strong foundation of the U.S.-Nepal partnership that our two countries have built over these last 75 years and setting the foundation for the next 75. Thank you again for having us.
सो विशेष समारोहलाई अमेरिकाका लागि नेपाली राजदूत श्रीधर खत्रीले सम्बोधन गरेका थिए। राजदूत खत्रीले नेपाल र अमेरिका बीच औपचारिक कूटनैतिक सम्बन्ध स्थापना भएको 75 वर्ष बितिसकेको स्मरण गरेका थिए। कार्यक्रममा अमेरिकी सरकारका विभिन्न निकायका पदाधिकारीहरू, कूटनीतिक नियोगका सदस्यहरू साथै अमेरिकामा रहेका नेपाली समुदायका लिडर, पत्रकार, व्यापारी तथा बुद्धिजीवीहरूको उपस्थिति थियो।
Good evening. Acting Assistant Secretary of State, Dean Thompson, officials from various departments and agencies of the U.S. government, excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, namaste and good evening. On behalf of the Embassy of Nepal in Washington, D.C., I'd like to welcome all of you to this official ceremony marking the Constitution Day, the National Day of Nepal. Thank you for accepting our invitation. I would like to welcome Acting Assistant Secretary Dean Thompson as the chief guest of today's ceremony. It is such a happy coincidence and a great privilege for me to congratulate Dean on your nomination as the next American ambassador to Nepal. On this happy occasion, let me begin by extending my warm greetings and best wishes to my Nepali compatriots living in the United States and to our American friends, both of whom are the most valuable assets that Nepal has in this great country. The Constitution of Nepal was promulgated on 20th September 2015 through the hard work of two different constituent assemblies, whose results were finally endorsed by an overwhelming majority. The Constitution institutionalizes historical political gains achieved by the Nepali people through their successive struggles for democracy that started in 1951. It is Nepal's first constitution drafted by the people's elected representatives. It enshrines universal values of democracy, fundamental rights and freedoms, human rights and human dignity, while also equally emphasizing equality, social justice, diversity, inclusion, and even environmental sustainability. As we all know, democracy, with all its limitations and flaws, is still the best form of government to all the other alternatives. Alternatives to democracy can only be a better and a more vibrant democracy. Our Constitution draws lessons from successful and established democracies around the world, including the United States. Where else would we turn for inspiration than the very land of Abraham Lincoln? As President Lincoln rightly said, the people's will, constitutionally expressed, is the ultimate law for all. This democratic spirit is at the very core of our Constitution. Nepal's focus today is on socio-economic transformation, uplifting the living conditions of the ordinary people. Sustainable economic development and social justice is essential to sustain and nourish democracy in the long run. In this context, Nepal looks forward to its continued partnership with its friends and well-wishers across the world in its development efforts. Excellencies, distinguished guests, and dear friends, Nepal and the United States enjoy long-standing, cordial, and cooperative bilateral relations. This year marks the 75th anniversary of the establishment of formal diplomatic ties between our two countries. As many of you are already aware, when we established our diplomatic relations on 25th April 1947, the United States became the second country with which Nepal established diplomatic ties after the United Kingdom. Nepal values highly the ties we have developed in the past 7.5 decades. Our bilateral relation draws its strength from many commonalities and shared values between us, including our rich cultural diversity and our national character. As an unaligned country, Nepal wishes to see the United States continue its pioneering engagements globally in dealing with many global commons in collaboration and cooperation with other nations. Nepal will continue to work together with the United States in addressing the pressing global challenges such as tackling climate change, fighting the pandemic, containing terrorism, and violent extremism. Nepal welcomes and appreciates President Biden's priority on climate change, including global inequalities and promoting rules-based international order by further strengthening multilateral institutions such as the United Nations. We appreciate President Biden's recent initiative, such as the hosting of the Leaders Summit on Climate in April 2021 and for the Summit of Democracy held in December the same year. Our Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Sharbadu Dyoba, participated in the Summit for Democracy on the invitation of President Biden. Nepal looks forward to participating in the next summit as well. The government and people of Nepal appreciate the support and cooperation which the United States has provided to our development efforts, and as it remains one of the oldest among the major bilateral development partners of Nepal. Our bilateral development cooperation reached a historic milestone this year with the passage of the bill by the Nepali Parliament on the Millennium Challenge Corporation, MCC grant, in February of this year. We are confident that our joint partnership in implementing this program will lead to construction of major infrastructure projects that are badly needed for our national development. We are also grateful to the generous support provided by the United States in dealing with COVID-19 pandemic. The 6 million COVID-19 vaccines provided to us, which was developed by some of the leading drug companies in this country, along with the plane loads of essential medical supplies, have saved many lives in Nepal. We remain indebted to the United States government and the American people for their generosity in our times of need. Another important facet of our bilateral relations is the long-standing cooperation and exchange between Nepal Army and the U.S. Army. We appreciate U.S. support for the capacity enhancement of Nepal Army, including in the areas of professional development of its personnel, UN peacekeeping operations, disaster preparedness, and rescue and relief operations. As it goes without saying, there exists plenty of opportunities for further collaboration and cooperation between our two countries, including in the area of trade, investment, and tourism. Due to Nepal's unique geographic location and proximity to the two of the world's largest and fastest expanding markets, India and China, and its young population educated in English media, Nepal offers promising opportunities for U.S. investors, especially in service sectors such as information technology, education, tourism, as well as other technology intensive sectors. As some of you might know, I'm personally passionate about the possibilities of cooperation in the IT sector, which I believe will be a game changer for Nepal. Our official relations are also reinforcement by engagement at people's level. Nearly 4,000 US Peace Corps volunteers have served in Nepal in the past 6 decades. Annually, nearly 100,000 American tourists visit Nepal. In terms of numbers, Nepali students in the US rank 12th largest when compared with those coming from the rest of the world. All these factors, along with the sizable Nepali diaspora in the United States, create bonds of friendship that can only grow in the coming years. Since I arrived in Washington, D.C. nearly 6 months ago, my first and foremost priority has been to build on these relations that have been built over the past 75 years. I've been most fortunate to have the support of various individuals from many departments and agencies of the US government, for which I'm grateful. I've also received, again, a lot of support from the outgoing ambassador to Nepal, Randy Berry, who has done a fantastic job in our country. Finally, on behalf of my colleagues at the Embassy of Nepal, let me again thank you for joining us for this special occasion tonight. I'm confident that the long-standing friendship and cooperation between Nepal and the United States will achieve newer heights in the days to come. With these words, let me propose a toast to the 75 years of close friendship between Nepal and United States of America, and to the continued progress and prosperity of the Nepali and American peoples. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. Welcome to the US. Thank you so much. Cheers.
Cheers.